So we are going to talk about books that have influenced you in a powerful way. What book are you bringing to us today?
Look, I don't know. Can I just talk? Because I don't know what. I don't know how you want to do this. There's a section. My section right here is incredibly important to me, but it has to do with the Holocaust and the people who went through that. I have several books here that have changed my life for that. Over here, I'm not going to move it, are books by women who've influenced my life a great deal. And then I've got challenging books like No Easy Jesus and Don't Give the Enemy a Seat at Your Table, books like that. So
those
I don't know.
All sound great. Let's start with the books that have changed your life. Let's go to that segment.
They all have, but you're talking about this.
Yes, you had them in categories. You said these have changed my life, and then next you said these are women who have influenced.
Right. Okay. So it's the Holocaust stuff. Some of those books have really the stamina, the ability to survive of these people's unbelievable to me, and it put steel in my soul to read that stuff and see.
You already had enough steel. This is just galvanizing you. Galvanizing you.
True.
Pick one or two of those to show us and talk to us about it.
It's going to have to be three because they're all in the same category.
Okay.
It just has to be. But I do want to show this book just to show it. If you ever want to understand Hitler, this is the best book I've ever seen. Pathology of Evil. It makes you understand, and he researches his background. Either his mother or grandmother or both worked for Jews and were physically abused by Jewish men. And so Hitler has Jewish blood in him. That's the point. That's the reason he went after Jews. He had Jewish blood.
Wow. I did not know
that. Yes. So that's why he hated them so badly. And one of them, I mean, that's one of the reasons, and one of them eradicated from the face of the earth. So.
Wow.
Okay. All right. This is the first one in this category that I read. The Tattooist of Auschwitz. And the Tattooist of Auschwitz was a Jewish man, but they found the guards is a word that people who work in prisons don't like. I don't know what they call the German soldiers. We'll just say the soldiers found out that he could do tattoos. And so they told him, if you'll do this, then you'll have a better life than you will if you don't do that. And it troubled him so much that he was going to tattoo numbers on his own people. But to possibly save his life or to get him a better life, he became, and these are true stories, he became the Tattooist of Auschwitz.
Wow. Now, who did he write it?
And you know,
who wrote it?
A woman researched it and wrote it. And right now,
conversations with him, or did he have any kind of journal or diary, or?
You know, I'm sorry, I hadn't had time to check up on everything. Wow. Gee, I just read Wow.
Read it.
She interviewed him. She
did talk to him directly. That's what
Lyle Sokoloff in an interview with this woman said, I just read this. Wow.
Read it.
I tattooed her number on her left hand, and she tattooed her number in my heart.
Wow.
So she actually interviewed him. Wow. So he made it out. See, he made it out. Okay. While he was there, in this story, the tattooist of Auschwitz, while he was there was a young girl named Silke who was there. She was, I'm not even sure she's Jewish. I'm not positive, but she was in, she would almost have to be. But anyway, she was in Auschwitz, and she was beautiful. She was 16 years old, and one of the German officers saw her, and she became his mistress at 16 to stay alive. Okay. She survived Auschwitz. And then the Russians came in and liberated the camp, but they found out that she had been the mistress of a German officer. So they sent that girl to Siberia. So she went through Auschwitz, was not freed, was taken to Siberia. And if you've ever read anything about Siberia, it's so cold, it's ridiculous. And they have for part of the year that it's totally black, no sun, or you can have daylight all day long. So it drives you nutty. And Silke's journey.
Okay.
This one right here did me in.
Okay.
Same girl. Hey, look, same author.
Oh, okay.
Same author.
Wow.
And she probably interviewed her too, because I found out after I read this book, this lady Silke did not die until 2019. Had I read this book earlier, I would have gone wherever she was to talk to her. So she went to Auschwitz. I don't know how long she was there, but she was very smart, and she took on medical skills. She just had inborn medical skills. So when it was realized that she could do that, she was moved from the normal housing to the hospital. And wait, she did have to go back to the hospital, to her housing, after she was in the hospital taking care of sick people, patients. Gee. And there was a German nurse there that absolutely loved this girl. And she saw how smart she was and how great she was with the patients, as well as medically understanding how to take care of them. And that nurse worked to get her freed and get her out of there. And so she made it out. But I've never read of anybody who went through Auschwitz and then Siberia. Unbelievable.
Well, that whole era.
This one right here. Everybody needs to read that one if you think you got a tough life. Are you kidding me? Jeez Louise. And in Siberia, the Russian soldiers would choose women that they would go to their housing and have sex with them. So because she was so pretty, but one Russian soldier chose her and told the other guys, leave her alone. So for whatever that's worth, she did have that. And then this is good too. The Librarian.
Say a little bit about that.
It's very interesting. I did not know that Auschwitz had a library until I read this. They did it as a front. They did it to show, hey, life isn't so bad here. We have a library, and wow, was a fairly good library. The man who ran it was a Jew, and they would work behind the scenes to help people out. But when it was no longer, when the Germans realized it looked like they were going to be taken over, then they realized they didn't have to put on a front anymore. They shut the library down. The guy who ran it went into a Great Depression. It seems like he kills himself. I'm not sure about that. But who knew? I had no idea.
Right.
There was a library. And another one I want to find, I haven't gotten it yet. There's one where they had an orchestra. Another front, but they had an orchestra. But to have that library, they would, and they taught little children in the library. So they had school in the library for the little children. That's phenomenal. I don't know how long it lasted. I think it lasted a couple of years. So little children had a place to go to learn and to be with colors and to play, all that kind of stuff. But remember, in the Germans' minds, it's just a front. But God used that to minister to those little children. So those three, wowza.
Wowzer is right. And you've always been a history buff, so
yeah, history major. Yeah.
And that's the particular part of history that has intrigued me the most, and probably where I've done more reading.
Me too.
Or watching.
Me too.
Because it's so out of our mind. I mean, we just can't fathom that kind of atrocities. It's horrible. And to see humans treating humans like that, and at the length at which they did it, I mean, it's just, so I mean, most everybody's familiar with The Hiding Place.
I was just fixing to, I can't find my copy of The Hiding Place, but of course, that's what started me on this journey. Corrie ten Boom, The Hiding Place. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a great, and that came out, I think, when I was like a junior in high school, I think. So right after.
And I read everything she wrote after that until she had to quit writing. I think she had some strokes or something at the last.
Yeah, really moving piece. There's one book that I've read called The Choice, and I read that probably just a few years ago by Ega Gardner or something. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, she survived Auschwitz, and she ended up coming to the United States and becoming a therapist, and she began to help other wounds. And as she's helping them, she's actually getting healing herself. It's really But the story is written so beautifully. It's so engaging. I've actually listened to it. I have it on Audible book. I've listened to it twice, but she's still alive and lives out in California and practicing. And she is, oh man, that woman is a firecracker. But she's one of the few remaining, that were actually there and went through that's still existing. And there's very few left. But that book is tremendous, and not only does it take you through that period of time, but it also takes you through what the healing process looks like, which is beautiful. It's really beautiful. Just laced in there like that.
Okay. So here's one called Father, Forgive Them.
Wow.
This woman lives in Alabama, and the last I heard, she was still alive. And she goes through, she has 4 laws of forgiveness in this book. Cindy Spell, my friend, knows this lady personally, and so Cindy sent me this book.
So many good things, and it's, you know, War and Remembrance. I don't know if you watched that series or read the book. I've got the book. Was written by a pilot during that World War II, and he wrote it because he didn't want us to forget what happened. And it's a beautiful book, and they did a series, a video series, which is basically word for word the book. It's like 100 hours. Wow. It's Winds of War, War and Remembrance. All of them are connected, and it's beautifully done, and it takes you through a Jew's journey, an American soldier's journey.
Oh wow!
And a naval what do you call them? Not captain, naval. I guess it's a captain. Is it captain?
Admiral in the Navy.
It follows all of them, and it's beautifully done, and it's also, you know, it's not something you actually want children to see because it can be really graphic in the death camps and stuff, but I think it paints a really good picture. And I read the book after I'd seen the series, and I'm like, oh my goodness, he actually helped them direct the movie, the author, but it was literally word for word, and it was beautiful. That's a beautiful series if anybody's interested in that. And then there was a film out years ago called Life is Beautiful. Do you remember that, of a man who
I do.
And he had his little boy, and he's trying to hide his little boy the whole time, and he's pretending like all of this is a game, and he's just, the way that he engages with that child is so beautiful in the midst of all that darkness. And that was amazing. That'd be worth seeing as well if you're interested in that period of time. So to wrap it up, like on the Holocaust books, what do you take away from all of those? How do those impact you?
Number one thing is to realize what a human being can endure. Your mind has to be right. You have to be thinking of survival. I don't see how those people did it, because right out in the yard were those buildings where smoke was coming up all the time, and they were burning people. I don't know. But they, like in these books, these people had a survival mode. They were just going to keep going and keep going.
Yeah. Spirit is so resilient. And
as we're put in the crucible, it's amazing what a human being can do. And then those of us who have Jesus, man, you know, we have the power of the Holy Spirit in us to withstand. But we may be a little soft now in America.
How can we not be? Yeah.
We're just a little soft.
But, you know, they probably were too before that happened. I mean, no one predict that kind of suffering.
That's that same concept that Brother Bowden used to say, that you will not get the sufficient grace of God till you're in this situation. He used to say that over and over again. People say, man, I couldn't go through that because, and he would say, yeah, right now, no. But
right.
God says, my grace is sufficient for you. And when you're in the middle of it, if you turn to him, you will have the ability to face what you have to face.
Even without Christ, the human spirit is so amazing, because the book I was
it's true.
The one that I mentioned about the choice, she's never proclaimed to be a believer in Jesus Christ. But
right.
That's why it's called the choice. She realized at some point the only thing she could do was choose how she would look at it and how she would be in that situation, which is
right.
amazing amount of discipline and survival skills and all that. I look at that and I'm like, there's no way. I'm so soft. I get upset about a bug bite. I mean, come on. Those kind of conditions are just too much for me. But like you say, the grace would be there. I hope we never have that happen again, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that kind of thing happen again. But just to know that humans, it's on two spectrums, what the human spirit can survive and also what the human spirit can do. Evil, the evil it's capable of, and the goodness that it's capable of. And this is actually apart from Christ. This is just humanity.
Exactly.
Quite impressive. But right. When you
it's
say
built into, don't you think God built that into us? That's survival thing.
The theology, I think, behind this is that we are imago Dei. We are made in the image of God. Everybody's made in the image of God, which tells that God is an amazing, resilient person, right? And so the fight to live, the Hitler and his crew are like the worst part of evil that we see in the world. They're the human spirit gone awry, right? The worst part of humanity is displayed in them, and those who survive, the best part of humanity is displayed. But gosh, it's really sad, and it's great to be able to read these stories because they are inspiring and they do show us how amazing humanity is in all ways, right? Amazingly horrible and amazingly wonderful at the same time. This whole human experience is incredible. And I go through these spells where I'll do, like a Holocaust stretch, and then I can't do anymore.
I'm there. I'm right there right now. I can't. I've got books upstairs I haven't read yet, because every time I see one that I think it would be good, I get them. But I'm on overload right now.
You have to pace yourself a little bit on those.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap that little category.
Wait, let me see if I can find something real fast. A girl posted something that had to do with a girl who's a granddaughter of a so she spoke, the granddaughter is winning some kind of something, and she said, my grandmother was in line to be shot into a pit, and that's what they used to do, line them up and just shoot them so they would fall into a pit. And by the way, I would choose that over being gassed. And she said, what happens if I step out of line? And he said, I don't have the heart to shoot you, but somebody will. And she stepped out of line. For that, I am here and my children are here. So step out of line, ladies. Step out of line.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. And we'll list those books. And if any of y'all are interested, you can just go click on the links and go get them. We'll give you a list of them at the end of this. All right. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.